All right. Part two, people. Part two. So, this is how clean my water is. It wasn't too starchy. Usually, fourth round, I don't drain my water completely. Some people say they do. You're not supposed to, per manufacturer, supposed to wash it in the container or the pot that it actually sits in. I do. Just make sure, like I was mentioning, or if I did not mention, these marks here are scorch marks. That is burnt marks from the bottom of my pan because I failed when I first got it. I failed to wipe down the bottom of this pot, and therefore I burnt because it sizzles. Because this gets really hot. And so I make sure I wipe the exterior down. The interior, I make sure I have no rice up along the sides of my pot. I shake it to balance it out. And again, I'm doing the finger method. So, I don't know if you can see. I'll try to open it, but I'm barely touching it. No indentations anywhere. It's barely. Can you see where it's just wet on my finger? It's probably really hard to see. Excuse my regrowth acrylic nails. But it's about right here. About that line. It's not quite. Maybe an extra. Well, it's going to be bad measurement. It's barely covering the. Right there. Barely covering my fingernail. It's probably coming up this far. So, now you can see my indentation. So, that's where I go with my water. Maybe you can see the line. It's almost at 4. So, what is this? 3 cups? Almost 3 cups. So, it's right at the 3-cup water level. So, what is that? A half centimeter? But I've washed it. This is how clean it is. It's getting cloudy. And all I do, if you want flavor, like I said, I sprinkle. I just shake this in there. You can stir it if you want. Use your soup base mix or your bouillon or whatever. These are powder, or not powder, but granulated. So they're little pellets. And I just shake it in there. And then I may stir it. Half the time I'm lazy. And I don't stir it. I just dump it and close it. I don't put no oil in there. And I close it. Lock it. Or push to the latch. Pull out my little cord. And I plug it in. Oops, backwards. Plug it in. It's on keep warm, so what is that? Orange. Flip my switch. And it's red. It looks kind of orange on here too, on the camera, but it's red. And then I turn it. Because my counter is really low, so I don't want the steam to kind of warp underneath my cabinet. So I kind of pull it out. Well, I do pull it out. I turn it so that the steam is mostly up. And it's cooking. I let it do its thing. I set it, forget it. The Tom Rinker, or whatever his last name was, that did the whole forget it. Set it, forget it thing. That's what you do with this. With all rice cookers. Your Instapot. Same thing. Set it, forget it. And it does its whole self keep warm. With that, I know some of the rice cookers also have the where you have to add or select the feature for it to automatically go into self-warm. We'll find out about the cuckoo. Like I said, I could do more in this. Now that everyone typically has these standard rice cookers in their home, or at least a good majority, or the good few of the population have this type of setup, as far as type of rice cooker. Other than that, I guess you could put soy sauce in it. You can put crushed red peppers. You could put salt and oil in it. I know people from Marshall Islands, especially one of my friends from the Marshall Islands, she puts oil and salt in it. If she uses it on the stove or does her rice on the stove, because I think at the time she didn't have a rice cooker, just a small pot, literally boils it with water. Same type of measurement to the knuckle. Fills it, puts the lid on, turns it on high. Once it starts boiling, she reduces it with the lid on, keeps the lid on, and she forgets it. And then, until she can remember, she'll check on the rice. But other than that, that's it. That's as simple as it works. Doesn't make any special noises other than my house is really quiet and I can hear it whistle. It just kind of goes. And I'm like, what is that noise? And I forget that I have my rice until I could smell it in the air. Once I could start smelling the jasmine rice in the air because it's so fragrant, I know it's about done or is done. And usually I can hear it go click or pop like a spring on the lever here. You can hear it pop or click because it sounds like a loose spring. And if you notice it or you hear it, that's your indication. I let it sit in there. Once it's done and it's then goes back automatically into the keep warm status, after it's done cooking, it just defaults to keep warm. Nothing too ecstatic about it. Quite basic, quite common, old school method, still works to this day. I just decided I wanted to upgrade. That's why I've been quite hesitant to opening up the other box, because I was like, why should I open up the other box? I wanted to get rid of this and give it to my friend, but I moved since then, never mentioned it, therefore I kept it. Because I was still utilizing it. So now I was thinking, okay, I can donate this, give it to Goodwill, give it to somebody else who needs it, like my sister, my mother, but she already has one. My sister already has one, not to this size because she doesn't eat rice like that, but other than that, I was thinking maybe I could do meals and use this as my Instapot, because I don't have one. I don't have a pressure cooker. And I was looking into the Cuckoo brand of pressure cookers that does everything, even the rice. But again, I like my implements to be separate. I like my rice cooker to just do what it needs to do, and that's cook my rice to perfection. Other than that, pressure cooker is great for doing everything else. One pot dishes, and so on and so forth. Especially summer months when you don't want to heat up the house, perfect go-to. I'm still trying to practice on that because my sister has a pressure cooker. Quite a lot of fails. But anyhow, not an Instapot, but a old pressure cooker, which I realize it does not lock. I can still open it, and that was a mess in itself. Scary. Don't recommend it. Don't try it. But yeah, there's nothing much to this. And you can make rice wine from this. rice cooker, this standard type of rice cooker. I'm sure if you practice and you're utilizing it for other things, I'm sure, especially on YouTube. I know Maangchi, Maang, Chi. I know she does makgeolli through, which is Korean for rice wine, through her rice cooker, a standard rice cooker like this. If that's what you want to do, great. It takes quite a few days to complete that. A long process, but something to check out on. She's on YouTube. There's quite a few of people that I like on, but she's one. She's fantastic. But other than that, she's one of the originals when Korean and Asian food was really popular. But recommend checking her out. Other than that, I mean, I can experiment, but I'm not one with a rice cooker. Other than simple and, like I said, rice wine I'll do, but never done it. Would have to try that experiment out to even give you any type of feedback on that. But standard rice, I will come back with part 3 to show you the texture of the rice, the individual grains. This is going to take what? I've been talking now for the past 9 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. This would be probably done in another 10 minutes. Really cooks fast. I let it sit there. I go to it immediately if I'm going to cook immediately. Usually it sits there anyways for another 5 minutes. Just to make sure that it's completely, any condensation that it has at the top of it, any residual heat, moisture, it's all getting cooked through evenly. Then I fluff it. Other than that, the only time that this is going to be fluffed is me sticking the rice spatula in it to put it in another container. Unplug this, wash out the container, dry it off, put it back, push it back against the wall, and let the rice cool down for tomorrow's fried rice for the baby shower. Other than that, nothing to it. It is what it is. Pretty standard. But leave me information on the comment lines if there's anything in particular. We'll give it a whirl. This is the House of Creativity. But I really, really want to do a full 129% review on the new Cuckoo. I just haven't gotten to it because I get more reviews on my little short 15-minute or 15-second review on this. So, depending on how many reviews I get on even the new Cuckoo review, if it exceeds the old one, perfect. I might then pull it out and start doing the review and utilizing that full time and put this back in the old Cuckoo or the Cuckoo box. And at least have this on backup. But signing off, wait for part 3. I will show you the aftermath of this and I'll give you the time. It is now currently 1:07 my time. So, with that being said, maybe another 8 minutes, it'll be done and it'll pop. I don't smell anything, it's just now coming to pressure. Other than that, this is where the steam gets off. It's getting warm. You could probably hear it hiss. Other than that, this doesn't pop up. It doesn't move. It eventually escapes the steam on its own. It's getting hot. But when it is in full steam, high pressure, do not open this. Now, the new features, it locks. It's built like a pressure cooker. This is not. I can pop this open. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. Nothing's going to happen. Or at least that I know of when I've done it. Usually I pop this open just right as I hit cook. Other than that, it's really, it never fails me. And this first finger, first knuckle method never fails me. Perfect rice all the time. If you go a little over your knuckle, you're just going to have a little bit more done. Maybe softer grains. But we'll see. Give me some feedback. Let me know. This is the Tiger brand I've had for 100 years. A good 25, 27 years. So, it's an old dinosaur. I was 15. I'm now in my 40s. So, I think I was 16, 17, I believe, when I purchased this. So, it has some miles on it. And it's still going. So, alright. I will talk to y'all on part 3. Bye.